Before I begin the deck profile, I'd like to do a special shout out to William, who has helped me to understand this deck profile, or rather Yasuie better. So, so let's begin straight away with the starter itself, which is this guy right here. So he reminds me of Naruto, this character called Jiraiya, one of the best character in the series, with the frog and the hair, and as well the ninjutsu scroll. And let's dive right in to the Yasui himself. So what does Yasui do? Count +1, so +1. You choose 2 units on the field, and you can clone them from the drop or the deck itself. So note that Murakumo actually can clone from the drop now, so it kind of increased the, I'll say, pool of cards you can superior call from. And the second skill is where it actually, after attacking battle, you can discard 2 cards and you can superior right to Yasui Tenma himself. And introducing the Yasui Tenma himself. So, what does Yasui Tenma actually do? So on the Vanguard Circle, it's just a very simple effect. I'll just say it's a budget version of Yasui himself. Count +1, you choose 1 unit on the field, clone it from the drop or from the deck itself. And on regular skill, you have a very strong skill in my opinion, which is after attacking, during attack, a mandatory skill by the way, you must have it +10k, and after attacking battle, you do bottom deck one of your opponent cards, and then it dies at end of turn. End of the battle. So why is it important? Because at the end of the battle, you can actually go to the drop, and then you basically have the Tenma in the drop zone for the Yasui VR to superior right into. Next, I would say one of the most strongest rare introduced to Mura, One Eye himself. So basically, this card acts like a booster, which you will lack given that you are playing a 13 grade 3 ratio. And what this card actually do is that when you have 2 of him on the same field, you basically gain the ability of boost as well as the second ability, which is the most important one. During the end of turn, you can actually go into soul to draw 1 if you have 5 units in total. So for each 1 eye to proc, you must have them to check for the timing, whereby every time you want to go in the draw, you actually check 5 units is on the field to draw 1. So that's about it for 1 eye. Next, we do run Shirayuki. So this card has been limited by Bushiroad, and there's a reason why it got limited. It's such a strong card defensively and offensively, and surprisingly well, this deck actually can support the one copy of Shira due to 1 card. Let me introduce you to this card. His name is none other than Awazu. So this ugly guy here actually is the boss card of Yasui in my opinion, because this card basically becomes anything in your deck. So what does it do is, on place, you can actually search your deck and mill 1 card, and then it gains the name of that card. So as I mentioned just now, Yasui's skill does allow you to call from the drop zone. So this actually helps you to be able to become Shirayuki, which you can fetch back later with the Rainy Madam, which is a great one. And next, I do play the flex spots of the Grade 2, which is this Triple R, as well as this Grade 2 Common. So what do they do? So for this Grade 2 Triple R, it's very simple. He has 2 effects. One is that when he's on Vanguard Circle, everything on his same name as him, will +3k. And second effect is on place, count +1. So +1 you can superior call himself from the drop zone or the deck. So this mainly is just to help me aggro battle on turn 2, and it's a very good right target. Basically because you can have 12k grade 2s at turn 2, which can hit overforce without any boosting, as well as if you were to boost it with an 8k unit, you'll be hitting for 20k, which will hit over damage trigger. So personally, I do like the deck to be a bit more aggressive, because Ende Yasui is mainly doing poking damage. So I like this card a lot. And next, I do play the common. So what this card do is that on place, you can drop 1 and check the top 2 of a card, top 2 of your deck, and you choose 1 to add to hand and the other go to the drop zone. So basically, this card is just to help you cycle more into the deck, and I'll later explain to you what other grade 2 options can be good for this deck. Now let's move on to the grade 1 itself. I do mention the Rainy Madam just now. So yes, this deck actually can afford to play Rainy Madam, because when you mill with the Awazu, you are able to get the Shiraki in the drop zone, and then when a battle does fail, you can actually go into Soul to add a Shira to hand. Talk about synergy right there. And next we do run the Great Tree Searcher, and personally I do feel Murakumo getting this Great Tree Searcher is the blessing they needed, because they do play a good amount of Great Trees, and each one of them actually do have their purposes. So being able to search top 5 and hitting a Great Tree right there and then discarding one is very strong because it improves the consistency of the deck. And the second skill, which is the usual plus 5k, is a very easy condition to hit, which is basically if you have 2 units on the same name on the field, he will get the 13k. So the 13k boost, so boosting it behind Vanguard is the optimal play usually, or rather put in Excel Circle against MLB, etc. And next we do play this Great One Daba, Takihime. So it's a very strong card in my opinion, and don't be fooled by the Vanguard skill. So on the Vanguard skill actually is on right, you can actually search top 7 and add one Yasuie to hand. So in my opinion, how is this not good? So because actually in the restand turn that you'll be having, you actually want him on the rearguard circle. So if you do write it immediately on turn 1, chances are you won't be able to see anymore, and then you will not be able to explode with the deck. So this Grand Daba is actually stronger for his second skill. Basically, it's when a Yasuie Vanguard appears on the Vanguard circle, you can actually count plus 1, choose one unit on the field, and then you clone one from the drop zone to a rearguard circle. So usually what you can do is actually you can clone one eye which you milled with the Awazu previously, and then superior calling it after you get an additional Excel circle with the Yasuie Tenma. And to conclude this, I actually run a 6 critical 6 draw lineup. So I'll introduce the 4 heal first. Crits, 6 crit, and as well as a 6 draw. So I do hear a lot of people saying that they do prefer playing 8 front, but I do personally play critical triggers because I do want to push them in the early game, and critical triggers do add a bit of spice for the deck, and that's why I actually love it. So now I'll be discussing the various cards that you might want to play in your Yasui. So let's start with the Great Tree first. So firstly is Musashi, actually, the infamous Musashi. So basically why I choose not to play that card is that the card is actually fairly greedy. Given the fact that your deck is already clogging with Great Trees, you do not want to have 4 Great Trees on the field. Sure, you might be able to achieve a better early game or rather aggressive turn, but in exchange, you do not have any hand size to begin with, because you are committing quite a lot of cards to the field, and then you do not actually get any pluses at end of turn. Unlike if you play the one night here, you are able to draw it back. So the next Great Tree that I might have considered to play is actually the Hyuga and the Hyaki package, but this package is very heavily concentrated on the Great Trees, and your ratio of the deck is going to be nuts. It's going to be something similar along the line of 16 Great Trees and 8 Great 2s and probably 9 Great 1s. Not the best side you're going to have. And then let's move on to the Great 2s. Fushimi. Yes, actually I do mention in my previous fight videos that I actually want to consider playing Fushimi. So what does Fushimi add values to the deck? It allows your units that cannot hit over the damage trigger to be able to snap off the rearguard behind. And on the good side, it is a 14k attacker and it will push some damage. The next Grade 2 that I might consider is actually the Grade 2 common. This Red Archer boy. So on paper, it does look very simple and looks like a Fushimi clone, but there's this one superior thing that it has. It actually has resist, which is very important given the fact that we have upcoming Shadow Paladin and Gredora, and even Tachikaze, who is going to be coming back with their Anger Blader, although it's just a one-off. So having resist Grade 2s and having a permanent base of 14k does help the deck. Next, we will move on to the Great 1s. Actually, for Great 1s, I don't really know of any Great 1s to recommend to play. the 3 great ones that I do introduce in my deck profile is actually one of the better one for Yasuie. People can consider playing Million Red, and even the when you boost, you actually add 3k to the clone units. But the problem with these cards is that Yasuie don't actually lack in power. The way Yasuie is played is that to overwhelm your opponent with advantage as well as Excel circles. As for the triggers, it's quite self-explanatory. People can consider playing 8 front or the 6 crit 6 draws, but honestly speaking, the better build would be the front triggers. So I would like to touch on one more variant, which is quite infamous, I would say, which is the Weasel variants, the agents. Basically, you clone all these agents, and then your whole field become a zoo literally, and then you just have Yasuie to clone them, and then you just basically overwhelm your opponent with that. But like I mentioned, the deck does not lack in power. You do not need to have power to actually overwhelm your opponent, because let's be honest, a 5k guard is still 1 card in hand if they do not have intercept on the field, or effectively a 10k guard will already hit, will already pressure them. Sure, damage trigger would kill your deck, but that's why you play front triggers as well as you play Shirayuki. And then you just have to fix your column properly, especially cards with Tenma and the One Eye and the Great Researcher, which is a 13k booster by the way. You can achieve strong lanes and you can just pressure your opponent off that. And with that, thank you for watching to the end, and I do appreciate you checking out my deck profile. Do let me know in the future if you want to check out more deck profiles, and I'll be hoping I can deliver. Thank you.